Hi, it's Olga here. Welcome to the SEO audit video guide. Today I will be showing you how to audit your site, how to crawl your site using Screaming Frog SEO Spider. The site you see here is the site that I will be using for the purposes of this video. So let's go to Screaming Frog and show you how to set up the crawling and what you should pay special attention to. Okay, so we are now in Screaming Frog. So what I just did was I copied the domain name of this site. Now I'm pasting it here. But before I hit start, let's set up Screaming Frog a little bit so that it can give us even more information that a standard crawl would do. So in this case, we're choosing the mode Spider because we want Screaming Frog to simply crawl the entire site as if a spider would do. Here is the configuration. We may want to, for instance, you may want to go to System and choose storage mode. If your computer has problems with the space on its disk, you may choose the database storage, which is kind of more space saving, but it is up to you. One thing you can also do here is with memory allocation. So depending on how much gigabytes of RAM you have, you may want to choose more, but you don't want to overdo. You don't want to choose 16 gigabytes if your computer has 16 gigabytes, because then you may probably have problems finishing the crawl, or the crawl may kill your computer. So I am just sticking with the default 2 gigabytes. I think my computer will not have any problems with that. Okay. One more thing, we want to configure the spider so that it gives us the information that we want. So here I usually also check Hreflang AMP, so that we want to also check if the site has AMP versions of its pages. This is also a good idea to crawl XML sitemaps. If the site has an XML sitemap in some non-standard location and the sitemap isn't indicated in robots.txt, then you want to add the sitemap here. Okay. From what I remember, this site has the sitemap indicated in the robots.txt, so I don't have to do that. Extraction. I usually also want to have HTTP headers extracted, structured data as well. So schema validation, Google Rich Results feature validation is also a good thing to check. Yeah, I'm also storing HTML and storing rendered HTML so that I can see if there are differences between the pure code, the original code, and the rendered code. What else? Rendering. So here it is a good idea to choose JavaScript so that Screaming Frog will will render the site, and kind of maybe it will not do it like a Googlebot would do, but this can give you some idea if there are some problems with JavaScript rendering. Okay, I think that's enough for this type of crawl. Let's hit OK. One thing you can also configure here is, for instance, which user agent you want to choose. So by default, this will be Screaming Frog SEO Spider agent, but you may also try, for instance, Googlebot's smartphone, and Screaming Frog will try to kind of pretend that it is a Googlebot smartphone in this way, in this case. Okay. Let's quickly check if that will do for this crawl. I think, yeah, it's Okay, we don't need to exclude anything. Okay, that will do. So let's start crawling. Okay, the crawling is done. One thing I forgot to mention was that you can also use APIs. For instance, you can use Google Analytics, Google Search Console, or Google PageSpeed Insights to kind of check in bulk all of the pages. I haven't done that because for the purposes of this audit, this is really not required. Okay, so the audit, the crawl is done. What do I do next? The first thing you should do is to go to crawl analysis and click start, so that kind of Screaming Frog will kind of analyze what it has just done. And okay, now it's time to interpret what we have here. One thing to keep in mind regarding Screaming Frog, Screaming Frog does not really tell you that this is an error, this is a high priority error. It simply crawls the site. It has a number of things that it checks, and it gives you the results. And in the case of Screaming Frog, it is your kind of your task to analyze those results. While, for instance, Sitebulb, which we'll talk about in the next video, Sitebulb kind of suggests that this is an issue, this is a high priority issue, you should take care of that in the first place. Here, it is your call. Okay, so let's see. So what you usually should focus on once the audit is done is this part. This is how I approach the results that Screaming Frog is giving me. So let's start from internal. Here, for instance, HTML is the number of HTML pages, web pages of the site. If there are some problems, for instance, like we can see here is a clear problem, then you can see that these are, for instance, duplicated pages as well. Here, definitely this is the case. What else? You can see the images. You can take a quick look at images, external links. You can analyze links to external sources, external images, and things like that. For instance, one of the things you should check is whether the site uses Flash. So here, you can check that here. And next comes security. So you should focus on mixed content. There shouldn't be any mixed content. If there is, then you should dig deeper to check where this content is and whether it can easily be fixed. In most cases, this is a very simple fix. So here are HTTP URLs, and here is the HTTPS URLs. Here we can see there's an HTTP URL, and let's see what's there. We can see that it is 301 redirected, so it's okay. It's redirected from HTTP to HTTPS, so no problem with that. Okay, next we have response codes. So this is also something you should take a deeper look at. So for instance, you have pages that or resources that return status OK. What you are especially interested here are redirections to check whether those redirected resources should really be redirected. And usually the recommendation is that instead of placing a link to a redirected resource, you should place a link to the target. So for instance, let's find something that is how it works. Okay, so here's a resource, and it is this is redirected to this URL. So for instance, I can check where the link to this URL is, and then I can on that URL where the link to that resource is, I can change it into the target, which is this. So okay, here is the URL, and let's see in links, and here I can see that on those two URLs there is a link to this redirected resource. So I just need to visit those URLs and change the link from this to the one to which it is redirected, which was this one. And that's it. Okay, client errors. This is also something we want to pay attention to, especially if the number is quite huge. So 404 pages, usually the links to 404 pages should be removed in most cases. Server errors. This is also something to check. URLs. So generally with URLs, you want to have a clean structure without any session IDs, parameters, and if there are parameters, you don't want you want those URLs with parameters to have a correct canonical tag pointing to the version without parameters. Okay. So here we can see, for instance, if the URLs that have underscores, and clearly we can see that there is some problem. There is a problem. Those URLs should not exist. Let's see what's in this URL. Okay, so this looks like some kind of duplication, which should definitely be removed. And it is indexable, so that's very bad. Okay, in the URL section, Screaming Frog will also show you other unrecommended things, characters in URLs, which are underscores, uppercase, for instance, multiple slashes, and so on, parameters. So here, Screaming Frog is clearly showing me those pages, and my recommendation would be to remove those pages, because this is clearly something wrong with this, or to at least add a no index tag to them. Okay, page titles. Here we can have a kind of a bird's view on page titles. What you want to take a look here especially is duplicate, because this usually shows us that there is some kind of duplication going on the site. For instance, if there are parameters, so you will probably see those pages here as well. So here we can see, yeah, this is this type of this type of web page that I just talked about. Okay. So too long page titles, too short. This is not such a huge thing, but it's always worth taking a look at that. Here, meta descriptions. Same thing. If there are duplicates, then you want to kind of check what's going on. And again, you don't really need to kind of be obsessive about their length, because anyways, Google is rewriting page descriptions like most of the time. However, Google still takes into account what's in the meta description, so you probably want to have something there, even though Google may not display it. Here's an interesting thing: multiple meta descriptions. So here we have the list of pages. I think these are all the pages that have multiple meta descriptions. So definitely a bad thing. So here, my recommendation would be to remove those duplicates. There should be just one meta description in the code. Okay, meta keywords. I think that in 2021, no one is using meta keywords, but if they are, so this is the place where you can check if the site is using meta keywords. H1 tag. So here, basically, you want to check if the site has H1 tags. So you click on missing if there is nothing there, so it's okay. Here you can see that two pages do not have an H1 tag. So about us page does not have an H1 tag. So in my audit, I would write that I recommend adding H1 tags to those two pages. Duplicate, again, the same story with those pages and all. You may want to take a look at what's really in those H1 tags, whether they make sense. Here I can see that they make sense. Okay, so let's leave them as they are. Here we have H2, H2 tags. It is okay to have multiple H1, H2 tags. So here I would say that you may want to take a look at duplicate, what's there, whether something can be improved. So for instance, here it is blog. So yeah, this is, I think it is acceptable. One thing to keep in mind, I forgot to tell you, for instance, let's get back here. We have H1 missing. So whenever you see something like this, like this is clearly something you want to improve, check, verify. I always kind of go here, scroll here, and make sure that the site is the page is indexable. If it isn't, for instance, then you don't really need to worry too much about a specific thing, like those parameters. Where were they? Where are they? Okay, here. So here you can scroll here, or you can do it just here. You see that it is indexable. So in that case, okay, this is a problem. If it is not indexable, then you don't need to kind of alert this in your report, in your audit, saying that this is something really horrible happening. Okay, where were we? Meta descriptions, meta keywords, content. This is quite useful. You can also define. For instance, new duplicates. What's the percentage of similarity that needs to happen in order for a page to be classified as a near duplicate? So here you are looking for exit duplicates. Here everything is okay, and for low content pages. So these are usually by default. I think they are under 100 words. So let's see what's there. Okay, this is clearly a low content page, and it is indexable. So yeah, you definitely want to do something about it. Images. So here you can take a look at all the images. For instance, you may want to check if those images are JPEG or maybe they are PNG. Sometimes it is not so uncommon to see a site that it has only PNG images only. So you can see the images that do not have alt tags, alt attribute. Okay, canonicals. This is important. So here you can see the number of pages that have a canonical tag. Okay, so you can see that those pages have a canonical tag. And now you want to check the pages that have a self-referencing canonical tag, which means that they are referencing to itself. So, okay, that's very bad. So this is this URL with parameters, which is indexable. And the worst part is that it has a canonical tag pointing to itself. So this is very bad. The best thing here would be, as I said, to either no index this URL or to add a canonical tag pointing to the version without those parameters. So probably homepage, but I would rather remove those entirely. Okay, so you can see the web pages that do not have a canonical tag, so missing. So I can see that those all categories, are they indexable? They are not indexable, so that doesn't really matter in this case. And that's a bad thing. Here you can see the number of pages. This number is quite huge that have multiple canonicals. So this is something that definitely shouldn't be happening. So here is, for instance, this homepage. I guess in the case of homepage, everything is okay. Homepage, yes, has two canonical tags pointing to itself, so this is kind of okay. Here we have this parameter URL. Where is it pointing? Yeah, to itself 2 times. So from what I see, all of the pages simply have 2 canonical tags. Probably this may be maybe due to some SEO plugin. Maybe there are multiple SEO plugins because this is a WordPress site, and maybe both of them are adding canonicals. So definitely something to check and to remove. Non-indexable canonical. So here, yeah, we can see that this is the page. Yeah, it is not. It has a no index tag, so it does not need to have a canonical tag. Okay, pagination. Is there something regarding pagination? I don't think there's a lot to say here. Directives. So this is where you can browse through the pages that are set to be no index, no follow, or to be indexed. So here no index pages. So we can see that those pages are no index. So sitemaps, that's okay. Basket, my account. Blog, I'm not really sure about that. From what I know, this is the setting that you can. This is a setting in rank math. There is an option to, from what I remember, to no index the paginated pages of a given category, and I think this is it. So I don't think it is a good idea. At least this site has a few blog posts, so it may be okay to just leave one of those categories, for instance, blog, instead of this, because the URLs that are within the blog and within these all categories are probably the same. So okay, we can no index category, but in the case of blog, we don't want to no index those paginated pages. Definitely not. Okay. Hreflang. So this site has just one language. It's in one language, so that does not apply. But if it were, if the site were in multiple languages, then you may want to check, for instance, if hreflangs are used, or if there are missing, if there are return links. Because if the return links are missing, then canonical tags do not work. Okay, Ajax, AMP. So again, if the site has an AMP version, then you can kind of take a look at what's going on there. Structured data. Again, here you can see the web pages that contain structured data. And you can see different types of structured data. Validation errors. So yeah, this is validation warnings. But regarding structured data, I think the best place to kind of audit your structured data and specific issues is Google Search Console. Then you will have, because I noticed that very often what you see here does not really kind of overlap with what you see in Google Search Console. So in that case, I would first go to Google Search Console and see what's exactly there regarding schema and the errors, warnings. Okay, sitemaps. So since we did the scroll analysis thing here, then we can see in sitemaps the analysis of all of the URLs both in the sitemaps and both the URLs that were crawled. So for instance, here you can see the URLs that are in sitemap. Oh, this is very bad. We can see that sitemap contains this weird URL. So that's not okay. Other than that, oh, it contains those other URLs as well. That's very bad. So here it contains checkout. Checkout is non-indexable, so there shouldn't be a checkout page in the sitemap. Definitely not. Okay, URLs noted sitemap. So here we can see the URLs that are on the page, but that haven't been indicated in sitemap. It is not always a bad thing. For instance, if a URL is not indexable, then it shouldn't be shown here. Here you can see that it is indexable, but this kind of uncategorized category product. I don't think this is a problem. What about this? Let's see what's here. Okay, this looks like a blog post, which is indexable. So I guess it is indexed by Google. So nothing is happening because the URL hasn't been shown in sitemap, but let's check if it is indexed by adding site colon. Oh, it's not indexed. Okay, so in that case, maybe we should add it here to the sitemap, or maybe add it to Google Search Console and to request indexing of that URL. Orphan URLs, so yeah, these are probably only those URLs with parameters, almost. So these are the URLs that are not linked from anywhere. So yeah, maybe these ones should be linked in a more kind of regular way from other web pages, assuming that they are important for the site, but I think they are. Yeah, okay. URLs in multiple sitemaps. So yeah, this is not a huge problem. Here we have, yeah, non-indexable URLs in sitemap. So clearly these URLs, basket account, checkout shouldn't be indexed. So yeah, we should remove them. But if we don't, nothing will happen because these are just 3 URLs. But this is a good practice. So I always, when I do an audit and I see something like this, even if it is about 3 pages, then I add a note that this should be removed. Okay, page speed, we haven't really done that. Analytics, okay. So this is kind of more or less what you can go through here. Another thing you can do once you crawl the site, you can take a look at the structure. Here you will see, for instance, the number of pages and the level of structure where they are located at. So usually it should be the second, the third or fourth. So this is kind of okay, but of course this requires probably kind of more in-depth analysis. The response times, you can take a look at the response times. Spelling, grammar, yeah, that's, we're not doing it here. Okay, one more thing. You probably remember that we added the JavaScript rendering in the settings. So here now we want to check how the pages render. So let's go to the crawl data internal HTML. Let's see, for instance, homepage. This is homepage, and okay, let's see now. Let's now see a rendered page. Okay. Okay, here it is, because this one is without www, so it hasn't been rendered because this page is redirected to www. So we have the rendered screenshot of the homepage. Okay, it looks okay. It looks perfect. Remember that if you do that, if you render screenshot using Screaming Frog, all of those screenshots will be saved to your drive somewhere in the folder where you have this project. So if you want to take a look at all of those screenshots, just go there and you will have a lot of photos there. Okay, let's see another one. Looks okay. Terms and conditions. We are here, so let's check if terms and conditions are indexable. Yes, they are indexable. Okay. You can also view source of that page. So here's the source, and here's the rendered HTML. Let's go to show differences, and there shouldn't be like huge differences. But yeah, from what I remember, it is generally okay. Those differences are kind of acceptable in that case. HTTP headers, what else? And another thing that I also do while crawling, so once I have done those kind of initial analysis, I just go to HTML to see all the pages. And I simply, for instance, sort them by indexability so that I can only take a look at those indexable pages. So that's kind of checking what's there. Just kind of gathering information. So meta robots, things like that. This is basically everything you want to kind of, everything is here in one place. Okay. PDFs. You can also check if there are PDFs. Okay, let's say that you find something, you find an error. For instance, there are a lot of 404 pages. So one thing you can do, if there are like two, you can just simply copy them and paste them to your audit. But if there are like thousands, you probably won't do that. Don't want to do that. So you can just click export and export those URLs as Excel, and then, for instance, attach it to audit like an extra file. But be careful if you attach a file that has like 1,000, 1,000, 10,000 lines, then there is a high probability that your client will not be interested in reading that, but will simply tell you just to solve this. So this is also an important, I think, tip here. So if you are auditing a site and you know that you will be the person who's going to implement the changes, you just kind of need to be careful about what you recommend. Because I know that it is sometimes very easy to say that everything is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It is quite easy to find a lot of errors, to pinpoint everything in a site and say it is bad, even though this is not a critical issue like with those URLs in a sitemap. But if you're the person who is going to implement all of this, just kind of keep that in mind when doing those assessments. Because I noticed that sometimes we as SEOs kind of tend to, if the site was previously SEO'd by a different agency and they kind of did a poor job, then once we get this site, we want to show how good we are, and we kind of tend to enumerate everything that is possible and kind of exaggerate. This is what I used to do like many years ago. I stopped doing that right now. I know that now I want to focus on the most important things, the things that really move the SEO needle. So be careful with that. Okay, I think this is everything I have for you in this episode. Okay, there's one more thing, visualizations. So let's do crawl tree graph. Let's see what's there. So here is the graph of the site. Here's the homepage. Those red dots are the pages that are not indexable. The green ones are indexable. So here you can see the structure of the site, and as you can see, it is not that bad. We have homepage. So this is the second level, the third, and the fourth. Looks kind of okay to me, except that there are those URLs with parameters. Okay, let's close Screaming Frog. Okay, so I think that's all for that episode. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you want me to kind of improve it, to maybe speak more slowly or more quickly, and you know. Hope you liked it. So see you in the next episode, where I will be showing you kind of how to set up and audit your site with Siteball, another very nice desktop crawler. Okay, bye bye.